My name is Jane Victor, and this is the story I never thought I would tell. It's not easy to open old wounds, but sometimes, silence hurts more than confession. I met Victor during my university days. He was charming, confident, and made me believe I was the most beautiful woman in the world. We fell in love quickly, the kind of love that made me think nothing could ever break us. We used to talk about our future, a big family, a peaceful home, children running around the compound, laughter filling every corner. After our wedding, everything seemed perfect. We moved into a small but warm apartment in the western part of Nigeria. He would come home early, bring me roasted corn and pear from the roadside, and we'd sit outside to eat together. Those were the best days of my life. I thought love was enough to build a home. But after a few years, when no child came, everything began to change. What used to be a house full of laughter slowly turned into a place of silence and tension. At first, people would ask harmlessly, "When are we coming to eat rice?" or, "Madam, are you sure it's not twins you're hiding?" But soon the tone changed. Relatives began to whisper. Friends started to look at me with pity. Even I began to question my worth. Victor changed too. The man who once called me my queen started coming home late, smelling of alcohol. He barely spoke to me. He would throw away his food untouched and hiss whenever I tried to talk to him. One evening, I begged him to open up to me. "Victor, please," I said quietly. "What did I do wrong? Why are you treating me like this?" He looked at me coldly and said words that still ring in my head. "Jane, please let me have peace in this house. Until you give me a child, nothing will change." It felt like the air left the room. I tried to speak, but my voice failed me. He walked away, and I sank to the floor. I cried until I fell asleep right there on the tiles, asking God what I did wrong. That was the night I realized love can change, and sometimes, it changes quietly. Weeks turned into months, and our marriage became a shadow of itself. I tried everything: fasting, midnight prayers, herbal remedies. I even changed my diet, all in the hope that one day Victor would look at me with love again. Then, one Sunday, Victor's elder sister Auntie Stella came visiting. She had heard of the tension and wanted to help. She stayed for a week, observing us quietly. On her last night, she said something that changed my life. "Jane, I'm taking you to a doctor in the city. A very good gynecologist. We need to know what's going on." I hesitated. Victor had always refused hospital tests. But I agreed. Maybe this was my chance to fix everything. The next morning, Auntie Stella and I traveled to the city. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and hope. The doctor, a kind middle-aged man, welcomed us. "Mrs. Victor," he said gently, "we'll run a few tests and get back to you tomorrow." That night, I prayed like never before. I begged God for a miracle, not just for me, but for my marriage. When we returned the next day, I knew something was wrong the moment the doctor looked up from the papers. "Mrs. Victor," he began slowly, "I'm sorry, but your womb has been damaged due to multiple abortions. According to this result, you can't conceive naturally." The room started spinning. My breath caught in my throat. Auntie Stella gasped, "Abortions. Jane, how?" Tears flooded my eyes. My lips trembled as I whispered. "It happened years ago, before the wedding. I had 9 abortions, for Victor." He said he wasn't ready, and I believed him each time. For a moment, the room was silent, painfully silent. The doctor sighed deeply. "Madam, there are still options: IVF, surrogacy, adoption. Please, don't give up. But I wasn't listening. I was thinking of how I destroyed myself trying to protect a man's reputation, a man who now saw me as the cause of his pain. We returned home quietly. I felt empty, not just in my womb, but in my soul. A few days later, Auntie Stella called Victor and me to the sitting room. She spoke softly but firmly. You both need to stop tearing each other apart. What's done is done. You're a team. The doctor mentioned solutions, focus on that. Her words touched something in me. For the first time in months, Victor reached out and held my hand. He apologized for the way he treated me, and for a moment, I saw the man I married again. Slowly, we began to heal. We laughed again. We prayed together. We even started talking about adoption. I told myself that God was restoring us. For months, our home felt peaceful again. People started saying how happy we looked. And I believed them. I believed the worst was over. But life had one more blow waiting for me. It was a Saturday morning. I remember clearly because we had just finished breakfast, and I was laughing at one of Victor's silly jokes. I hadn't laughed that hard in years. Then came the knock. I opened the door and froze. Standing there was a heavily pregnant woman, with a little boy holding her hand. Good morning, she said calmly. I'm here to see Victor. My first thought was that she had the wrong house. I'm sorry, who are you? I'm looking for Victor, she repeated, then turned to the boy and said softly, That's your daddy. Go and greet him. My heart stopped. Victor's spoon clattered to the floor. His face went pale. He couldn't speak. I turned to him, my voice shaking. Victor, what is going on? Do you know her? Before he could answer, another knock came at the door. It was Auntie Stella. I felt relief wash over me. Maybe she would explain this madness. Auntie, please, I cried, I don't understand what's happening here. She sighed heavily and said, Jane, sit down. Auntie Stella took a deep breath before speaking. Jane, I wanted Victor to tell you himself. Months ago, he met this woman at a bar. He was upset, drinking too much, and made a terrible mistake. She got pregnant. He didn't know how to tell you. Her words hit me like thunder. I looked at Victor. So this child is yours. He said nothing. His silence was the answer. I screamed until my throat burned. Why, Victor? Why? After everything I've done, the abortions, the pain, the humiliation, all because I loved you. And this is how you repay me. I fell to the floor, crying uncontrollably. I remembered those nights I had held his hands and prayed for a child. All the while, he had one growing somewhere else. Victor dropped to his knees, tears in his eyes. Jane, please forgive me. It was one mistake. I swear I didn't plan it. Please, don't leave me. But something inside me broke beyond repair. You already left me, Victor, I said quietly. You left me the day you stopped believing in us. I looked at the little boy, innocent, blameless. Then at the woman, standing awkwardly, rubbing her pregnant belly. The scene felt unreal, like a nightmare I couldn't wake from. That night, I packed a small bag and went to my mother's house. I didn't say a word to anyone. I just needed to breathe. Months later, Victor still calls. He sends messages, apologizing, begging for another chance. But what he doesn't understand is, when trust dies, love dies with it. So this is my confession. Not because I want sympathy, but because I want someone to learn from my pain. Love is not blind, it sees everything and still decides to stay. But sometimes, staying can destroy you. I stayed for too long. And I lost myself.